The first console I ever played on was the PS1, and the first game I ever played on that console was Spyro 3. But because I was just a small little tiny microscopic pest, also known as a baby, I didn't understand how video games worked and never played more than 2 levels of the entire game. But last summer, I kinda had nothing to do. God, I wish I could go back to that. And decided that I should play the original Spyro 3 again, to see just how nostalgic it'd make me feel, what the game's like after so many years, and whoops, I ended up 100%ing it in a few days. So today, I would like to share my experience with you, as well as give you a retrospect of this now over 20-year-old game. We start off at the title screen, which gave me immediate heart palpitations because of the nostalgia, but if we take these nostalgia goggles off for a second, the first thing you'll notice from these graphics is that this game is definitely a PS1 title. Now, to be fair, for the time, these graphics look great. Do they stand the test of time compared to games nowadays? Dear God, no, but for the very early 2000s, it looks good. But yeah, bad graphics aside, it is time to choose a save file and begin this journey. And what better way to start off than with the thing none of you care about but are getting anyway: lore. So the story of this game revolves around these dragon eggs that have suddenly appeared in the world of Spyro. You see, in Spyro's universe, it is currently the year of the dragon. When a bunch of dragon eggs just apparently appear out of nowhere. I think this story decision was made to not get any ideas about anything into the heads of the children that played this game back then, and as a person living in the nowadays world of the internet on fan art, I sincerely thank them. And apparently, these things are very popular among the folk of this world, since in addition to the dragons, there's this lizard creature thing called the Sorceress, who also wants these dragon eggs for herself. The reason she wants them is because she needs them to gain immortality, because yes. So she sends out her assistant Bianca, who is another creature I cannot tell from the 5 triangles she is made of, and some of her minions to get the eggs for her. They go steal the eggs, accidentally alert every dragon of their devious deeds, but manage to escape with every egg. And because the hole they came from is far too small for any other dragon to fit through, fucking dig a bigger hole? What? It is up to Spyro to chase them down and save the day by getting all of the dragon eggs back home. Also, Hunter's coming along too, since I guess he didn't like the fact that someone stole his lunch. And so we end up in the first homeworld of the game: Sunrise Spring. And my god, if the graphics that look like melted plastic didn't remind you about the fact that this game is from the year 2000, these controls sure will. Okay, they're not horrible, but they're not amazing either. Spyro feels kind of floaty all the time and is fairly hard to control at the beginning. Also, sometimes it feels like the camera has a personal vendetta against me. You get used to the controls fairly fast, but for the first few levels, I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to beat this game, because holy shit, it's like trying to steer a really lightweight car with the wheel sensitivity at 1000%. Speaking of beating the game, what exactly do you do in Spyro 3? Well, your main mission is to go around levels finding eggs, which can be found by completing the levels themselves, beating minigames inside the levels, finding secret rooms, or by just taking them from the ground where some idiot accidentally left them. The other collectibles you'll find scattered around the levels that you'll also need to advance are the gems. You wouldn't necessarily need them if it wasn't for this capitalist Winnie the Pooh known as Moneybags, who won't let you through specific sections of the game if you don't have enough money to pay him. Also, he's caged up some of the new characters you get to play as, so you'll need some money to free them too. Gather every gem and egg in every level and soon you'll be at the end of the game. With this basic premise, we can begin to ingest the real meat of this game. We find all the eggs and gems around Sunrise Spring and then hop into the first level, Sunny Villa. This is a great tutorial level that shows off all the complex mechanics and attacks of Spyro. All 3 of them. Some enemies can only be flamed, some enemies encourage headbutting, and some areas require you to use your gliding ability to get to them. It introduces everything really well, and on top of that, it's just a nice level to be in. The visuals, well, they try to look nice if you use your imagination. It's really pretty. The characters ooze personality, and the music, my god, it slaps so hard. Just like this OST in general. The level also introduces you to the various minigames you'll encounter by giving you arguably one of the best minigames right off the bat. Hunter's Skatebug, baby! In this minigame, your goal is to just kill these lizard things by skateboarding over them, and once you get over the admittedly bad controls, damn, it's fun. But I do have one issue with it. Hunter. You're trying to help Spyro in getting these eggs back, right? So why the hell are you locking them behind minigames? Why are you making life so hard for me? After skating your way through the dinosaurs, the level is almost 100% done. There's just one more section you can't get to, since only Sheila, the unlockable character of the first homeworld, can go there. So you get her out of her cage by paying this narcissistic prick and go play through her tutorial level. Every new gimmick character in this game has one of these tutorial levels that serve no other purpose than showing off the new character's moves. And whilst these tutorial levels are nice, I'm not the biggest fan of the gimmick characters themselves. They're a good attempt at trying to spice up the regular Spyro format, but when playing Spyro, I'm usually there for, Spyro? The gimmick characters don't get used to the point of it being a huge problem though, so I should stop my whining and move on. After beating Sheila's level and finishing off Sunny Villa, we are rewarded with a cutscene that shows us how Bianca is about as intimidating as a houseplant, and so the journey continues. For the rest of the game, every world continues like this. You complete levels, maybe get a cutscene, complete more levels, and then beat the boss at the end of each world until the ending of the game arrives. Also, there are 2 more different types of levels I have yet to mention, but I'll get to them when the time is right. Now, the reason I explained how the entire game is gonna go so early on in the video is because I would like to switch things up now. You see, I felt like it would be kind of boring to just hear, "You have to get gem and egg," for the rest of the video until something new like a cutscene happens. So from now on, to keep things interesting, after talking about each homeworld in general, I'll be ranking every level of that homeworld going from worst to best. Then moving on to the next homeworld, talking about it, ranking its levels, and so forth. So let's get to ranking. Starting off with the worst level in Sunrise Spring, Seashell Shore. This level is not bad, it's just that it's not good. This level is an underwater level, and swimming in games nowadays can still be a pain, so you can assume that trying to swim in a game as old as this definitely wasn't the funnest experience. The swimming controls are bad, not as bad as some of the other games that I've played, but they're still bad. I got bored of the aesthetic almost immediately, and none of the minigames are that good. Altogether, they consisted of tedious yet easy, tedious yet hard, and tedious yet tedious. Again, not an abhorrent level, but a disappointment in the middle of all these great levels of the first homeworld. Crawdad Farm. This is the first one of the Sparks levels, one of the 2 different types of special levels I haven't discussed yet. In these levels, you play as Sparks and have to kill bugs in order to, you guessed it, gather gems and eggs. But in addition to that, these levels also give you upgrades after beating them, and these upgrades can range from being really useful to absolute fuck all nothingness. And a prime example of a nearly useless upgrade is the one you get from this level, the ability to gather gems from slightly further away. It helps in almost no way, but a small upgrade is better than nothing. The level itself is quite meh. All you do is go from room to room shooting bugs until you find the BBB and kill him to get an egg. These levels just bore me for the most part. The enemies are just bugs and the fighting, which is all you do, is very lackluster. That's about all I have to say about this level and any Sparks level moving forward. Expect them all to be at the bottom of my lists. Molten Crater. From this point onward, the rest of the Sunrise Spring levels are great in my opinion. Molten Crater just had the least appealing visuals to me. The enemies are fun and varied, the minigames are nice, apart from the bird, but I'll get to the bird later. And I love the look of all the characters. It's just the least appealing visually and musically. But not a bad level by any means. Mushroom Speedway. And now we get to the other level type I haven't mentioned yet, the Speedway levels. In these levels, Spyro actually gets to fly for once and uses this power to either race Rhinox or kill everything standing in his way. Or as the devs call it, collect items. Also in every Speedway level, there's these Hunter sections that are usually far inferior to the Spyro sections, but add a nice bit of variety in there. And we're starting off the Speedway levels with a banger, since this is my favorite Speedway level of the entire game. The level looks really nice, the music slaps, the racing and collecting parts, while pathetically easy, were fun, and this level also has the best Hunter section out of any Speedway level. Sheila's Alp. This one's nice. Sheila is a relatively fun character to play, with her abilities being up to par with the complexity of Spyro's moves. Jump high and kick hard. I especially enjoy the way this level incorporates these moves into its gameplay, with you having to jump up these massive mountainsides and kick these large rocks to get to where you need to go. The level also doesn't overstay its welcome, and in general is a nice and short introduction to how Sheila works, which is exactly how I like these gimmick levels, showing off the new character and its abilities in a nice, short and concise way. Sunny Villa. I love this level. You already heard in detail how I feel about it, so I'm gonna keep this short and simple. Everything about it screams Spyro to me. It's a fantastic first level for a platformer, and it is probably the best opening level this game could have had. But it is not number one. Cloud Spires. This level has everything that a Spyro level should have. Fun minigames, a fantastic theme, a nice atmosphere, good visuals for the time. All of it's just good. It's up to par with Sunny Villa to me, but I'm bumping it up to first place for one reason. It doesn't have a gimmick character section. It's all Spyro through and through, and that's what makes it number one. A fantastic level. After beating all the levels in Sunrise Spring, it's time to move on to the next world. But before that, it's boss time. We get a cutscene showing us how the sorceress is peeved about the fact that Bianca is about as intimidating as a houseplant and decides something scarier is needed. So the sorceress hands Bianca a spellbook, which she uses to transform this Rhinoc into a frog with severe medical issues. And so the first boss of this game appears, and he's extremely pathetic. All you have to do is push him down into lava when given the chance and dodge his very easy to avoid attacks. Nothing more to say about him, he's dead now. You have to let him go. Come on. You can't keep living in the past. Let's move on to the second world, Midday Gardens. Midday Gardens is a bright homeworld offering a variety of levels very different to the ones in Sunny Villa. Instead of an underwater level and a level in the sky, you get an ice level and China. Overall, a pretty good homeworld. The new friend you'll be rescuing is Sergeant Bird, a penguin with a thirst for blood equipped with military-grade weapons and flying gear. Who gave this bird this kind of artillery and why? Good question, but I am legally not allowed to tell you. So instead of hanging on to that thought, let's start ranking the levels of Midday Gardens. Sergeant Bird's base. Unfortunately, we have to start with the new characters level. Sergeant Bird is a floaty fucker and the worst to play gimmick character in the game. It's really difficult to predict where he'll land because of his floatiness, and the camera likes to get a tad bit too close for comfort in enclosed areas, which, by the way, half of the level is in. I never found Sergeant Bird a fun character to play. His controls, at least on the PS1, just ruin anything he's in. The level's idea is okay, but the very hallway-like and enclosed design of the first half makes it hard to see what's ahead, and the way too open second half makes it frustrating to collect everything since you have to steer this slow and floaty shit all over the place. Personally, this is one of the only levels in the game that I truly dislike. Spider Town. This is another Sparks level, and it's okay. The ability you get is the most useful though, since it's the ability to locate gems with sparks. It is a lifesaver when missing a single gem in a level, and this power-up might be the sole reason for this getting ranked higher than any other Sparks level. Country Speedway. Again, we're at the point where I think all these levels are good, but this one's another Speedway level, so it really can't get much higher than this. It's fun, the aliens taking over a farm is a cliché yet endearing theme, and the hunter part is tolerable. It's a very solid level with nothing to complain about, but nothing to really praise either. Spooky Swamp. This level has a great atmosphere, the visuals are nice and gritty, and the haiku stuff is charming. But otherwise there's kinda nothing here. If it wasn't for the bomb carrying minigame, I probably wouldn't remember this level at all. Speaking of the bomb carrying minigame, I did not find it hard whatsoever. Just a little bit of trial and error, and that's it. Is purely relying on trial and error good game design? No, but people have overhyped this minigame and its difficulty to hell and back, and in response to that, I call you all weak. Bamboo Terrace. This is a nice level with decent music, a cool aesthetic, fun minigames, except for you. And it was generally a lovely level that I can't complain about. In fact, that sentence can be suited to fit all the spots in my top 3 for this homeworld, and I think they're all basically equal to each other as levels, so at this point it just comes down to how much I enjoy the aesthetic. And unfortunately, this one didn't vibe with me as much as the other 2 levels above this one, so it gets 3rd place. Shit, I forgot about the theme of this one. This is the best level because its aesthetic is based off of the greatest country, China. China is the greatest country, Bing chilling. ICP. This is a nice level, with ice physics that aren't horrible for PS1 standards, but are not great either. All of the minigames are a little bit frustrating in at least some parts, and there are a few well-hidden gems that caused me to rip out my spleen when first playing through this game. So considering all that, I should not like this level as much as I do. But I do, and I don't really know why. The music is kind of forgettable and the visuals are blue. I genuinely don't know why I like this level so much. There's just something about it that hits the right spots in my brain, I guess. I've got not much else to say. It's objectively an okay level that I just happen to like a lot for no reason. Enchanted Towers. I really like the look of this level. The big booming towers and the purple and green colors really do something for me. The minigames are fun and varied, and for some reason Sergeant Bird kinda works in this level. He's still not super fun to control, but using him here is actually tolerable, unlike in his own level. I think this is because you only have to get these bones as him instead of having to collect absolutely everything, since he can be pretty fun in small doses, just like drugs. And the fact that this level somehow made this shithead work as a playable character already makes it deserving of the #1 spot on my Midday Gardens list. Now, the level ain't perfect. There's a few annoying gems, the ball spitting feature is awkward since you have to come to a dead stop to shoot the balls, what the fuck are you supposed to be? But it's a great level in general. After getting through all that, we get another cutscene showing us that the sorceress is yet again annoyed by Bianca's incompetence to kill, so the sorceress turns another Rhinoc into the amazing Rock and sends it off to fight Spyro. 2 seconds later, and the boss is dead. Yeah, the bosses in this game are completely pathetic, but I mean, they're not the main focus of the game, so it doesn't really matter. But on the other hand, having bosses that are actually fun and difficult would be a nice change of pace to the more chill platforming and fighting of the levels. I just realized I critiqued a game made for 5-year-olds from 20 years ago about the difficulty of its bosses. One sad boss later, we are at Evening Lake, which apart from its looks is the worst homeworld of the game minigame and gameplay wise. Over half of the level is underwater and the minigames are non-existent. The new character you'll unlock here is Bentley, a friendly yet strong yeti whose main powers are to smash objects with his club and then smash your mom. Now that homeworld's done and over with, thank God, it's time to get to the levels. Starting with what I believe to be the absolute worst level in this game, Lost Fleet. No doubt about it. This is one of the 2 levels that I actually dislike in this game. All the low-ranking levels on my list so far have been meh at worst, except for the bird. But this one just sucks. I don't enjoy pirate themes at all in any game I play, and whilst this one tries to spice things up by making it a spooky, abandoned pirate setting, it still ended up boring me. I hate all the mini-games except the skating one, but even that's the worst of its kind. The NPCs are forgettable, the swimming and Nazic mechanic is horrible because you only have a limited time to navigate through this abyss of green, the enemies are frustrating to deal with since they either require multiple attacks or gear used in the first fucking World War to kill, and overall I dread having to go through this level every time I play this game. But from an objective point of view, the design of the level and enemies ain't half bad. 4 out of 10. Starfish Reef. It's another Sparks level, but this time it's underwater. You get 1 extra HP after beating the level. Moving on, Honey Speedway. It's another Speedway level, and it's okay. What? I mean, come on, you can't expect me to have something to say about all of them. Fireworks Factory. Yep, this one's this low on my list. Everybody knows Fireworks Factory, it's a really iconic Spyro level. But it's also really hard, so excuse me while I bitch for a few minutes. Enemy-wise, this is one of the most frustrating levels, since everywhere you go you find these ninjas that just keep appearing. They jump at you from the roof, they come from behind walls, they come from your nightmares, and every time you want to hit them they run away like the cowards they are. Then there's these big guys, and while they're not difficult, they are also frustrating to deal with since you have to wait for them to turn around so you can explode their very convenient bomb strapped to their back. The enemies are just really annoying to handle. Then there's also the minigames, that I don't like very much. The one where you run through a maze of sorts is the best one. That one's quite fun. But the dragon boss fight is an infamously hated boss that I don't think I need to talk about. And the Ancient 9 part feels like a baby's first FPS, aka it is very bad. I like the look of the level and the music slaps, but it's not for me. A bit of the level is the regular Spyro goodness we all know and love, but most of it consists of frustration-inducing enemies and not so good minigames, which puts this level surprisingly low on my list. But it is a good level. Hi, I'm recording this and noticing just how negative that whole section sounded. Fireworks Factory is a good level. It's just really hard, and I'm a little bitch. So yeah, it is a good level, even though I sounded really negative there. Bentley's Outpost. Bentley's my favorite character to play as from the 4 new playables in Spyro. It's just fun to smash it with him, you know? The level itself is also good. It's concise, doesn't overstay its welcome, and introduces you well to the mechanics that you'll be using about 2 times after this. It's simple, it's clean, it's the way that you're making me feel tonight. Kingdom Hearts reference. Let's stop the rankings for a second to catch up to the lore that has conjured up during our trip down the homeworlds. So, Hunter fucking died, except he didn't. He got trapped in a cage by the sorceress, because clearly he was the threatening one that needs to be captured with the whole actively impeding my progress thing. But during his visit to the dungeon, Bianca sneaks in to tell him the backstory of the Forgotten Realms, the place we've been exploring the entire game that I forgot to mention the name of until now. So apparently, the Forgotten Realms used to be the home of the dragons, but then the sorceress banished them to another dimension because they said her kale casserole was a bit too bitter and not very good, I don't know. But since the dragons were the source of all the magic in the Forgotten Realms, everything's dying now. And unfortunately, the sorceress is too stubborn to resolve the conflict in any sort of way and would rather die with her kingdom than admit defeat, which adds another reason for why you should probably go and deal with her soon. Also, Bianca's a good guy now after seeing how evil the sorceress is. Also, Hunter and Bianca have the pots for each other. I forgot to mention those things as well, didn't I, during this? Fuck, I'm bad at this. Okay, lore, whatever, over. Back to the rankings. Charmed Ridge. This level is like being inside a magical old fairy tale, but everyone dies. So come to think of it exactly like an old fairy tale. This level really shines when it comes to the variety of the mechanics it has, ranging from moving platforms to Indiana Jones looking ass to some extra long gliding sections. It's all good stuff. The minigames are slightly lackluster, but overall Charmed Ridge is a great level with good music, level design, and characters. A stellar level yet again. Frozen Altars. This one's similar to Cloud Spires in the sense that I think this is everything a Spyro level should be. A fun level with nice visuals and music, varied platforming, something that shakes up the core gameplay a bit without making it too different, multiple types of enemies that aren't a complete pain to kill, and decent minigames. This level doesn't have anything exceptional in it that puts it above the rest, but it embodies everything a Spyro level should be to me. Really good level. Also, Bentley boxing isn't that hard, shut your holes. Yada yada, boss time, yada yada, sorceress pissed, you know how it goes, she makes a Rhinoc into a monster, but this time it ends up being a bat with legs. Legbat is probably the hardest boss in the game, throwing all sorts of enemies, projectiles, and even previous bosses at you. He also has this barrier around him whenever he's not moving, so you can only hit him whilst he moves, making things even more difficult. He actually managed to kill me a few times, which was surprising, but it is a Spyro 3 boss at the end of the day, so he went down after a few tries. And now we arrive at the last homeworld of the game, Midnight Mountain, where Bianca comes in to tell us that we are very close to getting to the sorceress, but we need a few more eggs to get through her door, so the last part of the journey is officially here. And what a place to spend the last chapter of the story on. Midnight Mountain is the best homeworld of the game with the best vibes, theme song, and secret eggs. The new character you unlock is Ancient 9, a monkey with a laser gun and homicidal tendencies. The last homeworld has been discovered, and the last gimmick character has been unlocked, meaning it's time to finish off the last levels. God, I'm very glad we're finishing the last levels, my voice is starting to go! Bugbot Factory. It's another Sparks level. The abilities you gain from this level are being able to break vases and chests without charging at them, just as long as you're close enough for Sparks to get to them, since he's been working out and is coming for you. And the second ability is being able to teleport to any level from the Atlas, your book for keeping track of what levels you have and haven't completed. I feel like they should have been here since the beginning of the game, but it's a nice incentive to finish up any unfinished business you had in the previous levels. But yeah, overall it was a Sparks level. But you know what isn't a Sparks level? I'm doing transitions now, hang with me, I'm trying to spice things up for the ending. Dino Mines. This level's okay, the music and visuals are fine, but the minigames are admittedly shit. The Ancient 9 one just makes me angry, and the water tunnel stuff I was never a fan of. In general, I'm just not a big fan of this level. But you know what level I am a slightly bigger fan of? Haunted Tomb. This level has similar issues to Lost Fleet, just scaled down a bunch. The Egyptian theme is kinda boring to me, the music isn't the greatest this OST has to offer, and the minigames aren't that fun. But I do like the look of the enemies and the general layout of the level, and the new mechanics it throws at you aren't nearly as abhorrent as Lost Fleet's, so it's okay. But you know what level is also not as abhorrent as Lost Fleet? Harbor Speedway. This is the last Speedway level of the game, and it's a pretty damn good finale to the Speedway sections of Spyro. I love the level's harbor look, and every single section is fun to play. Even the Hunter section, which I usually don't like in these levels, is fun. My second favorite Speedway level right next to Mushroom Speedway. Very cool. But it is not as cool as Agent 9's Lab. I like this level a surprising amount. Ancient 9 is a fun character to play when he isn't in first person, and the level, like all the other side character levels, is a nice and short showcase of everything this sadistic chimp can do. You shoot enemies, you blow up enemies, you shoot birds, I'm starting to think I just enjoy violence, it's all great. It's a really good level and probably my favorite new character level in the game. Sometimes it feels like the only thing this monkey can't do is fly. But you can in Crystal Islands. This level is a bit more open than most levels in the game. And whilst usually that be an annoying thing because it becomes more tedious to find everything, here it works because of the flight power-up you gain later on in the level, which allows you to fly around completely free of any restrictions. The minigames were nice, the secrets were actually fun to find, and the music slaps if you can ignore the screams of the children in the background. A really solid level. But not as solid as I was after playing. Desert Ruins. This one's just really fun. They managed to create a desert level and make it not look like it's just one massive sand polygon stretched over 50 acres. I forgot to mention this before, but whilst I hated the acid swimming mechanic in Lost Fleet, I did really like the way the acid looked, and the same goes for this level. I like the acid when I don't have to painstakingly swim in it. The music is great, all the minigames were good, and it's filled with good platforming challenges and secrets. A fantastic way to cap off Midnight Mountain. And so all of the eggs and gems have been collected from almost every level, and it is time to finally face the sorceress and take her down. Bianca opens up the door with her magic and shit, and so the final battle begins. The sorceress as a boss is very similar to Lekbat because she works basically in the same way. She shoots a lot of different projectiles at you whilst constantly moving, and you try to hit her with whatever you're given. She's a bit easier than Lekbat since the ammunition you have is much bigger than these pissy little darts, so it's easier to hit her even if she moves around way more. As a final boss, she wasn't horrible, but not a particularly big challenge either, just like all the bosses in this game. You shoot her a few times until she falls into some lava to burn for all eternity, and so you have saved the day. We get to see Spyro run around the different environments you explore throughout the game for one last time in the final cutscene, before topping it all off with a fireworks show at the fireworks factory. Roll credits. Except don't, because the sorceress is not dead. You see, once you've gathered all of the gems and eggs possible, you can go to the super bonus round, which basically works as an epilogue. And in there you find a shit ton of gems and fight the sorceress again, since, in case you forgot, she's not dead. The fight itself is garbage, but the epilogue is a nice send-off to the game. Just thought I'd mention that. Okay, now roll credits. I know I've sent out a few mixed signals throughout this video and have probably come off as very cynical and negative towards this game at points, but I do really love it. It's not the greatest thing I've ever played by a long shot, and there are some parts of it that I outright dislike, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't have spent an entire 30 minutes talking about this thing if I didn't care about it. I think what the enjoyability of this game boils down to is simple. Fun. This game's fun, and nothing else. You go around these levels doing platforming and minigame challenges without any bigger meaning. There's no convoluted story or big message behind the game. It's just a good time. And sometimes that's all you need. Nowadays I usually go into games looking for some sort of grander meaning or message, even though sometimes all you need is a bit of fun to make you forget about the bad parts of the world. And that is something I keep forgetting about when searching for new media to consume. Things don't have to have super deep meanings that impact my life largely all the time. Things can also just be entertaining. And that is exactly what Spyro 3 is. Entertaining. That's all it needs to be and all it ever will be. And for that, I love it. Do I have a massive nostalgia bias on this game that might be influencing my views on it since it reminds me of a time when I was more happy and carefree? Absolutely, fuck off. But looking at it from an objective point of view as well, I still think it's a really solid platformer that I can recommend to everyone who likes these kinds of old platforming games. If you have a functioning PS1 and can find this game for a cheap price somewhere, or, you know, I suggest playing it. It's an enjoyable and short experience that's gonna keep you entertained for at least a few hours. Or, if the quirks of the PS1 are too much for you, the Reignited Trilogy is a good way to experience this game too, with better looking graphics and tighter controls, even if the charm of the original is lost a bit. Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon is fun. I think that's the best way to summarize everything I've said today. Thank you for watching, please subscribe, and did I ever mention the reason the sorceress needed the dragon eggs to gain immortality? Well, it's because she needed their wings, because they had some magic stuff in them apparently. And now the thought of this thing plucking off the wings of a baby dragon is ingrained in your head. You're welcome. Goodbye!